not maybe.
All right, you are back on, Frank, after a small technical issue.
Just a small one.
Just small.
All right, yeah. So we were just talking about being inspired. So there's lots of things that inspire me, and I think inspiration is the key than motivation. Motivation is short-lived. You know, New Year's Eve. You know, post-Christmas celebrations. You know, you're feeling sluggish and not yourself. So you're like, oh, I'm going to get fit now. You know, all that stuff. That doesn't work. What works is when you find your why. When that why, when you really knuckle down to that why, the how is easy. You know. Yeah. So for me, the why was I going back to LA so many times, knowing I was getting a beating every single time, was because I knew that my goal was to get so good at this art that literally was just unbeknownst to so many people. And it's not like some obscure striking art. You know how you hear these striking arts from Indonesia or Russia or, you know, somewhere, you're like, oh yeah, you know, I'm the first guy, and you're like, yeah, okay, 3.8 people are doing it. You know what I mean? So it's pretty awesome, but when you get a guy that you like Eddie, and a teacher like Eddie, you know, laying it down the way he did with such incredible lineage. His teachers John Jacques, his teachers Hickson, his father taught him. It goes on and on. I mean, the lineage is. I'm more Gracie than most Gracies, really, and I'm in the most eclectic style of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu known to man at the moment, with what Eddie's doing. So, you know, being inspired to go, look, I'm in the right hands, because I've always felt like I was just looking for that sensei, you know, looking for the one to really be my sensei, you know, because I'm such a loyal student, you know, I'm so dedicated and determined that I'm like, oh, I just need to find the right person, and man, I'm going to fly, you know. And I was meeting great people, but, you know, there was this air of, you can get really good, but as long as you're not as good as me, you know, you know what I mean? Sure. Which is a problem. But in jiu-jitsu, it's not, because it's so hard to be better than your teacher. If your teacher's still training hard and thriving and still educating and evolving, you're never going to catch a teacher, because jiu-jitsu is like that. It's so based on numbers, you know, your experience, you know, how much you're actually training all the time. And as long as you're training and being consistent, you'll keep progressing. And my teachers Eddie's doing that. I mean, John Jacques is still doing that. And that's why I'm still doing that. So for me, it was easy to go back there. The inspiration, and also the excitement of the pending rewards and the success that was destined for me were right in front of me, and I just had to find a way to get to them. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, that little arcade machine, the claw, and there's all these awesome prizes down there, and you got to try and line it up and grab the best prize. I knew I was like fogging up the window of my success. You know, I just knew that once it was clear, which always was, but once I found out that direct path to get to it, and I knew it was possible, man, nothing could stop me. So I've been always inspired. It's difficult though. It's not easy. Easy is just not an option, but inspiration, find find your why, and the how will always find its way to you. So.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. What has been one of the greatest advice that your master was able to share with you, and that you've been able to take that with you from since then?
Keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Eddie always said to me, okay, so let's say I got my blue belt. I'll tell you, I've had the same conversation with Eddie like 5 times. Every time I got another rank, every time I leveled up, I said, Eddie, what do I have to do now? He goes, just do what you're doing. I go, what do you mean? Do I have to work on my back attacks? Do I have to work on my leg locks? He goes, just keep pushing. You're doing everything correct. Just keep pushing. I'm like, are you kidding me? I flew 15 hours one way. You're going to tell me to keep pushing? Like, so I struggled with it. Then you know, when I got my purple belt, Eddie, please, Eddie, what just tell me. I'll do anything. What do I have to do? He goes, just keep pushing. I'm like, you said that last time. He says, yeah, but just keep pushing. You're doing everything right. Just keep pushing. I got my brown belt. Guess what? I didn't even bother. And when I got my brown belt, I was like, all right. So I was on the path. I just had to keep going. Persistence and not quitting, not giving up. Just keep doing everything you can to win. Like, it's important. You have to get serious about what it is that you want. You can't just be nonchalant. You know, you have to be like completely clear on what it is. You got to get completely clear, and you have to be all in. And that's the thing about me, is that I was always all in, man. Even if I was in a freaking golf course, man, I was all in. You know, golf pants, golf shirt, $1 million, my golf shoes. Like, I don't care. My mother always said, you don't have to be the best, just look the best, right? And you can fool your way through.
I love that. I love that.
You know.
I remember when I got involved in triathlon, I was like to my husband, this is it. I found the sport. It's triathlon. I'm going to go and get all the gear. And sure enough, I did exactly that. Got all the gear. He looks at me and he's like, dude, you've got all the gear, but you have no idea. You know, and I had absolutely no idea what the heck I was doing. I couldn't swim to save myself, let alone then do all the 3 principles, you know.
Oh, yeah, there's my time trial bike in the background there, Sheb.
I love it.
That's my time trial bike from Ironman right there. I leave it in my office to remind me to keep pushing. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What advice would you give, Frank, to somebody who does continue to push? Like they're just, how do you know the limit from pushing too hard? Like what is the boundary there? How do you know? Because there are some people who just consistently physically push hard to the point where they risk injury. Like how?
Oh, no, I don't mean like that. No.
I know that. But what advice would you give? Like how does one determine the difference between pushing those barriers versus risking an injury?
Well, you have to look at the results. I'm a quantifier. I'm very much a quantifier. You know, I've always used a stopwatch. I've always used a heart rate monitor. I've always used a clock. I've learned to master time. Time. What time means different things to different people. But to someone like myself, or I mean, there's people that are way crazier about time than I am. But I'm just saying, I'm a quantifier. So my numbers never lied to me. So, you know, you have to know. So when it comes to athletics, for instance, you know, elevated heart rate, you know, exhaustion for multiple weeks at a time, you know, chronic style injuries. I mean, you have to have a look at all that stuff. So that you can have chronic moments in your business. I mean, it doesn't have to be just physically, you know, when you're plateauing and, you know, not being able to push through certain levels and whatnot. I mean, you know, there's reasons for it. And what they need to do is they need to get good coaching. That's the thing that a lot of people don't. They're self-reliant, but they're beating themselves up without someone there to say, hey, listen, you need to take a break. Or how about we just work on this for a bit? How about we let's just take a break from running for a bit because your shins are killing you and your lower back's problematic. Why don't we just focus on some stroke correction in the pool and let's get you on the bike and let's do some time trials and see if we can, you know, fix that a little. You know, so just not stopping, but just redirecting your efforts and your energy is a huge recovery for something that you're not doing for a little while as much now. And triathlon's a great example of that. So I mean, you know, you just have to, man, you have to master yourself. Like that's the thing about martial arts is that a lot of people are afraid about this part, and that is learning about who you really are. Like nothing will do it more than martial arts, man. I see big, strong dudes, 6'6", 120 kilos, shredded dudes give up because they're on their back for a couple of minutes because they couldn't get a guy off their back. I'm like, bro, I've made an entire living of fighting off my backs. You know, like what do you mean? You know, so some people just don't tolerate much. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about people that are pushing, that they need to quantify so that their numbers don't lie, and the data and the science that they get, and make sure it's reliable data, please, Chev. Okay, we've seen what unreliable data looks like these days, claiming to be scientific. So don't be that guy. Don't be a politician in your life. Do not do that. Do not do that. Be a person of the world. Be a citizen of the world when it comes to that, when your goals. But, you know, like, so monitoring. So I monitor things. I write things down. I know where I'm at. You know, I know my times. I know what's going on. For instance, if I'm doing swim sprints, and I'm like a couple of seconds off per sprint, and you're usually doing, let's say, 18 and a half seconds per 25, and you're doing 22, 23 seconds, and you're in the 7th rep of 25, and usually can maintain those times, but now you're struggling and you're losing time, mate, you know you're done. You know you're toast. So you probably need a bit of a break, you know? So you have to be able to notice these little things, Chev, along the way, you know? And if you're not coached, this is the point. If you don't have a coach to monitor you, to show you, because sometimes you need a slap in the face. And if you're not taking notice of your times and all this stuff, and you're not going by your feel, you need someone to pull you up. And if you don't have any of those, you're destined to burn out, you know, and that's a problem.
Oh, I've been there twice, so I know what that's like. Not pleasant. No, not at all. So how has practicing the art of jiu-jitsu influenced your approach towards your own leadership and those that you lead outside of jiu-jitsu?
Well, Eddie's the greatest leader I've ever been associated with, and I've been with Eddie for 17 years now. No breaks, just pedal to the metal. And no one taught me better leadership than him. you know, and he's just really good at allowing people to express their views and not be judgmental, you know. And he's also taught me to not worry about anybody else except what I was doing. And as long as I wasn't hurting myself or my family or doing anything that was destructive, that I was, you know, able to just keep pursuing my goals. And he just showed me by such a great example. So for me, it was just like, just lead, just be myself. You know, I struggle with that because, you know, being a small person, you know, I'm 5'3", I'm pretty reasonably light. I'm much older than most people that do jiu-jitsu, especially when they take it up. I mean, I met Eddie at 36. You know, most people at 36 are looking at golf carts and golf shoes, and no offense to golf players, because I played golf for a while too seriously, and that's no easy feat, but get what I mean? Like really slowing down and just looking at other things rather than what I'd been doing most of my life. And he just, mate, he was such a great example. I was just like, nah, I'm just going to keep going until the wheels fall off. You know, that's kind of our joke. You know, just keep pushing till the wheels fall off. And that's my key to leadership, is just to keep doing what I'm doing, be myself. Because I struggled to be me. It was held against me. Like being myself was like, oh, I shied away for a long time of being myself because that was getting me into trouble. Oh, you got too much time, too much talent on your hands. I'm like, people were holding it against me that I wanted to become a martial artist and be a professional and earn money and be successful. They were like, oh, I couldn't do it, so you're not going to be able to do it because I'm, you know, 5'11", 5'12", 82 kilograms, and you're only a little dude and you're older and you shouldn't. It's not going to happen. Well, I defied all of that and proved them wrong by a long way. And when I realized my own potential, when I realized that I was a unique person that had I had so many assets inside of me that could really propel me to anywhere I wanted to go, providing that I was willing to work hard. And when I realized my own self-worth, I drilled it into myself. You know, and even when I was like, even when it was held against me, I still didn't care what they said about me. I didn't care what they thought about me, Shep. The only thing, and to this day, and I will always feel this way, even as an energy one day, is that I didn't care what anyone thought of me. It's what I thought of me that's what I really cared about. Is that when I got up and I looked in the mirror, or when I was in front of a group of people and I was thinking, oh my God, I got to talk in front of 100 people or 300 people or whatever, that I could just back myself, man. And I just love that. And when I made that switch in my mind, I felt it. Like it wasn't just a thought. It was a thought with a switch in my mind. It was a mental thing. But I felt the impact of the thought. Do you understand? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Agreed. It's transformative. And unless someone goes through and experiences that themselves, there is no word for that. I remember recently after a training session, I was one of the girls on the mats, one of the females on the mats, and it wasn't long before I was hit by a brown belt to say how proud and impressed he was to see me on the mats doing what I do. And I, before that, was thinking, what am I doing here? The only girl on the mats, or being beaten by these strong guys, all these, mental monkey mind going on in the back of my mind. And I came up with a principle, and I'm going to ask you in a moment, what are some of your principles that you've come up with? And the one I've come up with is called the FIT principle: focus, intention, and trust. And I went, you know what? This is what when I'm focused, I'm going to remain focused and be super present with what I'm doing. I'm going to set the intention. So what am I doing? Am I practicing? Am I going to go close guard, open guard? Am I going to play from half guard? And if that doesn't work, then where am I going to transition from there? So consistently trying to come up with an intention. And then trust. And trust is a big one. So that's one thing that I thought, because you got to trust yourself. And that comes down to that self-worth in a way, trusting that you have the ability, that you have the confidence to do what it takes. And even if it doesn't work out, and at one point, I used to beat myself up because I would get it wrong or I would end in a submission. But now, as I've come in back on the mats after 4 years of having a break, I've come in with a more mature mindset. And I'm like, I'm embracing those failures. I'm embracing the course corrections, because that's what I look at now. It's a course correction. All right. Well, so it didn't work. Okay. So what? Okay. What can I learn from it? What's the lesson out of that? And then I came to the realization that when we were lining up and I was one of the senior belts, and I went and incorporating my own leadership outside of the mats and then inside, I'm like, oh my God, leadership is earned, in a way. I'm like, wow, on the mat, it's like leadership is being earned. So I'm talking about self-worth and potential. Do you feel like you, and I probably already know the answer to this question, where to from here in terms of potential? Because I dare say you're not the type of person to settle.
No, settle. What the hell? That word just scares me a little bit. Actually, I'd settle. Wow. Nah.
Where
No
to
thanks.
from here? What goals have you got? What principles have you got? Or are you working on now? Like, where to from here? I mean, you've accomplished so much in the short period of time that you've been involved with. And you've learned from a master, God, which most of us can only dream of working with. But where to from now? What does the
Well,
future hold for Frank Barca?
back to the original thing was giving is getting.
Yes.
And I'm so lucky to have had a successful martial arts school for a long time. I mean, I've been involved in martial arts for 44 years. It'll be 45 next March. Since a 9-year-old boy, surrounded by great role models and mentors, keeping me on the straight and narrow. You know, of course, my family, my parents, my uncles played a huge role in that. My brother as well. Look, I'm still working on my skills. I've got massive goals for myself personally. Absolutely, that's the first thing. And a lot of people neglect themselves. And no, I don't worry. I don't really focus on my stuff anymore. You know, I'm just focusing on the team. I understand that, but nah, mate, I that's not fulfilling for me, because what I think of me is important, is the most important thing. So I have to keep honoring that, and I have to keep showing up. So I keep doing that, and in doing that, I'm going to be still continuing to give back to the community, and that's all I want to do, is just create the greatest team I can, and I really believe I'm doing that on many levels, and just developing them as martial artists and people to play with. Because originally, when I wanted to open a martial arts school, I was really almost offended that black belts that I would find, you know, around to train with, they were like some of the wimpiest people and some of the weakest, mentally weak people I knew. I'm like, how does that happen? I wanted to train with black belts so that I wouldn't have to have a green belt complaining because I'm kicking them too hard, or an orange belt saying, oh, I don't know how to do a round kick, you know, or whatever it was. I wanted to train with high level people from the start. So that's why I decided to open a school, so I could develop my own black belts and I could train with them, so I could develop them mentally strong as well. And we're known for that. We're known that our martial artists coming out of our school are known to be like mentally very strong. And that's just because, you know, I am, because I've just trained myself to be, and I just try and give back to them and develop them as strongly as possible. So yeah, look, giving is getting. Fortunately enough, the education of being a martial artist my entire life has opened so many doors of opportunity for me. You know, I don't know whether you know this or not, and you know, of course, I'm not going to put absolutely everything on that bio, because you know you wanted a short bio, so I gave you one. But basically, I've been the color commentator for Hex Fight Series. I don't know if you know about Hex Fight Series, but Hex Fight Series in Victoria, established 2014. We've got 27 shows. I've done 25 out of 27 shows with them as a color commentator for them. And the 2 shows I missed, I was in Asia doing Rebel FC, which was an Asian promotion over there. So I missed a couple of shows, which I, you know, but I wanted to get that international accreditation so I could be a better commentator for Australia. So, which was never a goal in the first place. I got asked to put the cans on and watch the fight, and I gave a couple of things that I thought were going to happen, and I think I called about, out of the 10 fights, I think I called 7 finishes of the 10 fights before they were unfolding. It was really, really bizarre. But anyway, so I'm a color commentator, and I've been doing that, and I do that for Fusion Fighting System, which is cage jiu-jitsu. I do it for Salmon Challenge, which we've had 4 shows here in Professional Jiu-Jitsu Series. Rogue MMA, which hasn't done any shows this year, but we've done 5 shows for Rogue. It's an amateur promotion, and there's nothing amateur about the amateur promotions, let me tell you. They're just semi-professional. These guys are super amazing. Part the Hex commentator for the last, I don't know, 5 years or something like that. We're at show 21. I've been there since, I think, number 10. And the reason I loved it, the point is, I love being the voice for these fighters. So I could, because I understood the game so intimately, and I would talk to them about what their intentions were going into the fights. And I would let the viewers know what the plan was. And when it unfolded, it was so spectacular that very, very quickly the fighters were really, we really built a strong bond with them because they look forward to telling me what their intentions were. Because if it would pan out, not only was I telling the viewer what the plan was, they were able to execute the plan, and I was able to inform the viewer that it was unfolding. It was just such a trilogy. It was just epic, you know. It's just so for me, trying to be there for them because I'm giving. I'm not trying to go, oh, I know all this stuff about martial arts and I can tell you what they're going to do and wah, wah, wah. I'm going, forget that. I wanted to let you know what this guy was doing, you know, I mean, what's the most difficult sporting endeavor in the world when other than someone's trying to beat the crap out of you as part of the rules? You know, like you can throw a ball in the net, kick a ball through a goal, rush a ball over a line, hit a ball over a net, and that's awesome. And that's difficult. It takes dedication at the highest levels. But what's more like dangerous than the whole aim, Sheb, of the game is to literally wipe you out, physically dominate you, knock you unconscious or strangle you or bend your arm or your leg the wrong way until you give up. Like what's crazier than that? Right? So to be a voice for these men and women, as a martial artist, all these years studying and training and dedicating myself to health and fitness as well, and being an athlete and pushing myself to limits, to go in there and be their voice, it's the biggest privilege of my life, you know. And that translates on the mat when I'm teaching every night, because that's where you'll find me. I always have a joke that I'm the easiest assassinated martial artist in the land, because you'll find me at the same place every day, every night, standing in the same spot, opposite a window, across the road. It's so funny. I'm like, they just got to set up in that attic window and they can take me out any night they want, right? It's just the dedication of it all. I can't believe my luck that I can do that. So for me, my potential, man, there's so much work that's ahead for me with my goals, you know, to be the voice for these people. And I'm calling fights with Michael Chiavello. Are you kidding me? Like, Michael Chiavello is the voice of K1, One FC, Dream. K1's just made a comeback. I mean, he's doing Hex Fight Series with me as well now with Brent Foster. It's just incredible. And now we're going to Festival Hall. I mean, I don't know whether you know how huge that is, but Festival Hall is just a house of stoush. The greatest wrestling matches, boxing matches of all time have been held there. Finally, MMA is going there for the first time ever. And I'm going to be commentating with Michael Chiavello on that show. It blows my mind. All just coming from a place of giving. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right. I get it. Yeah. And 100%. I mean, compliments goes to you. I mean, you've obviously done the groundwork. You know, you have done the groundwork on the mats, and you've come such a long way in your own journey to now then be expanding into all these other areas and being a voice for these amazing athletes. It's truly inspiring. What I want to ask you is, as you know, resilience is one of the biggest key traits in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man.
How do you apply the same level of resilience when dealing with challenges, say, in your personal life or your professional life?
Well, I don't have to. I don't have to really go too deep into this because it's going to self-explanatory. I mean, what has been worse for humanity than what's happened in the last 3 years with what has been, without a doubt, the biggest slap in the face to us human beings than what these governments have been putting us through with this scandemic, this fake crap flu that they put us through, and forcing us to take all these untested emergency procedure, these vaccinations and all this rubbish, forcing us, right? And now they're saying, oh, we didn't make you, and right? I mean, how did we get through it? Here we are, Sheb, here we are. Well, that's how. You just do. You just do not let it in. You just do everything you can, as composed as you can, to just put one foot in front of the other, cut your losses if you need to, protect what you already have, you know, all those things that we did to try and just mitigate the losses and try and just corral your family and your people and your business together and come up with the plan and have solutions. If you can pivot with it, if you can reinvent yourself, evolve with it, anything you have to do to keep your lips above the waterline, just like any other Australian has. that's how I continue to do it. You just get up and you just keep going. Chev, there's no choice. I've chosen this life. I've chosen to be a martial artist, and I made a deal with myself. I'm going to accept everything that comes with it. If I create black belts and they walk, if I create brown belts and they are disloyal, if I have people that have got the greatest potential and they're flops, like, what do you want me to do? What am I going to do? I'm just going to keep going because I believe in me more than anybody. And I know that I can do anything because I've proven it to myself that I can. And that's the key. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to do the things that make you uncomfortable so you can learn it. If you don't learn it and survive it, you can't apply it again. How are you going to do it again? You're just going to get crippled and you're just going to get disabled and you're just going to get held back by it. And it's just you. It's just literally you holding yourself back. So how easy? We just do what us Aussies have been doing all this time, persisting and just getting up again and again. And let me tell you, there's been some shit. Let me tell you, they locked me in my dojo. They knew we were in there. I didn't stop training. Are you kidding me? I knew this was a farce by the 2 weeks lockdown. For what? When I saw where they were getting their information from, they'll falsifying flu numbers and all this stuff. I knew that it was a joke straight up. And I've got a podcast. I've got 200 episodes, and you can go back 100 episodes. And I've been talking about what they were going to do, right up to the digital ID, right up to the vaccine passports, the whole thing. I knew it was coming because I've been doing this groundwork. I've been looking into this shit for like freaking long time, Sheb. So this was no news to me. But I was ready for it. I was prepared for this, and I wasn't going to stop. Listen, they locked me in the dojo. They locked us in. They padlocked us in 3 times because they couldn't believe that we were putting everybody in danger by staying healthy and practicing martial arts in our school on our own. I wasn't risking. What was I risking? I should have died 1,000 times. We should have had millions of people across the world dead overall. Yeah, right. So how? Just keep going. Just like every Aussie that has saved his business, saved his family, kept them together through all of this. Whatever they had to do to survive, they did it, and here we are. That's how. That's how. Turn off that box. You turn off that TV. You turn off that radio, and you put good things in here, and you read, and you surround yourself with great people that are doing the things that you want to do, and that are keeping you accountable. How about that?
I like that.
But the biggest thing I'm accountable to is me. Yeah. And you got to put value to that. So if you haven't done anything yet, then you have to go and find something, and you want to be great at it. Get really good at it. Get so good at it that people will pay you to learn it off you. That's what I did. That's what I love it.
I love how passionate you are. I love how you speak with passion, Frank. I absolutely love it. And I could listen to you all day. So, but one of the key things I got out of that is do not let it in and just keep going. Easy is not an option. I just love that. Focus on the solution, even if it means you have to go reinvent yourself. Just do it.
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah.
Action. Powerful.
I'm an action man. I'm an action man. Not just a planner. Planning is great. Write things down, have a plan and a direction. Yeah, for sure. But if you're not willing to put the wheels on those ideas, then they're just wishful thinking, wishful thinking. And what I want out of life is way more than just wishful. I want to be, I want to be. I don't want to just imagine. I want to live. I want to live. And I'm alive. I know I'm alive because every day I'm pushing myself and it hurts.
Love it. I love it. And pain is inevitable, right? As we know, especially when we're grappling on the mats and we're trusting our opponent not to do too much damage, and hence why we tap out. But it's an option for growth and adaptability and increasing the level of resilience that we have and filtering that through from the inside out and then inspiring the world, which you were doing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I would love to ask you from a male's perspective. Now, you know that females grapple and you're talking to one right now, but from my recent conversations with females, they find it really difficult training up against the male guys. So they
Yep.
find that there's this philosophy in jiu-jitsu about the smaller person up against the bigger guy. What are your thoughts on around that? And what are your advice? What's your advice? What can you give to those women who feel that they're powerless when they're grappling against these guys who might seem to come across stronger? What is some of the advice that you can give those ladies?
Okay, first thing, and please keep me on the straight and narrow, because if I take a bit of a left turn, you've got to bring me back a little bit, because you can lose me. I can lose myself sometimes. But first thing is this: when you come to a jiu-jitsu academy and you want to learn jiu-jitsu, the first thing is for self-defense. You shouldn't be joining up just to be look, I shouldn't say shouldn't, because everybody's different, I guess. But generally, when someone joins a martial arts school, they want to learn self-protection. Does that make sense? And in jiu-jitsu, it doesn't take long before you can pretty adequately take on bigger and stronger opponents than you, who know nothing about fighting. Jiu-jitsu is so directly proportionate to the time you put in, and so directly proportionate to knowledge. So if you have 3 more lessons than your girlfriend, you're still going to smash her. Because those 3 things are huge in jiu-jitsu, because they're so valuable, because they relate and they're so applicable, so physically applicable. That's so powerful, and it works straight away. So the first thing is, I'll tell the girls when they come in, at the moment, we've only got 5 females that are training in my school, and they are so epic. Oh man, so amazing. And I tell them all the same thing. And I say, hey, listen, the first thing is, just put a good 3 to 6 months in. Don't worry about nothing. Don't ask me questions about, can you beat this? Can you beat that? Don't worry about big guys strong. Just learn jiu-jitsu. Just get really good at jiu-jitsu first. And then inevitably what happens is, along that way, new people join. Men come in and join. And there might be a lighter guy. So let's say she's 52 kilos, okay? And she's 5'2", 52 kilos, right? And she's just been going to the gym for 3 years. So she's in relatively good shape, strong. She knows how to squat, tighten her abs. She comes with some potential already, And then we just inject jiu-jitsu in there into her. And then before you know it, 3 to 6 months goes by, and the boys start coming in at about 60 kilos, 63 kilos. And I go, hey, Jessica, why don't you go over there with Pablo? Go over there with Pablo and do a round with Pablo. And they just tool them. They just turn them up and toast them. It's unbelievable. One time, I had one of our first black belts, female black belts, Nat Frankham from Hobart. She's incredible. She was amazing. And when on this particular day, she was about, 57, 58 kilograms. And I was just sitting on the stairs, and it was a day class. And she was over on one of her many trips to Melbourne to train with me for a few days. And she would stay here with us at home, and she would just train every day, all day with us. And she'd go back home after a week just to get her training in, like a traincation, right? And one time I was sitting on the stairs during a day class. There was a whole bunch of footballers that were coming in to try out and just train and wah. And I just sat on the stairs, and we got this Australian flag hanging, and I just peered through the flag just to watch a little bit so she couldn't see me. And she was just tooling these dudes up. These are footballers. They had about 25, 30 kilos on her, and there was nothing they could do. Nothing they could do to stop it. Nothing. Over and over and over. So for all the females listening to this, you can develop skills so great that people that don't know jiu-jitsu, providing you're not drunk off your head or stoned off your face or completely oblivious and I don't know, asleep and tied up, these guys have got no chance. And if you look at Brazilian jiu-jitsu, one of the most important, most offensive positions is off your back with your legs around their waist, full guard. And if a guy's going to assault a female, that's the position. And training these girls to be able to be so dangerous off their back, throwing up triangles, using their legs against their neck. Their legs, not arms versus arms, not 52 kilos against 82 kilos. It's 52 kilos against your neck. It's 52 kilos against your elbow. It's 52 kilos against your leg. It's all just strategy and tactics and incredible preparedness and great tactics and great preparation and dialing in and focus and composure and calmness. That's what it takes to overcome bigger, stronger opponents. And my friend, it's not just bound by gender. And it's two. It's because it applies to me. I'm 5'3". 66 kilograms, ringing wet, 53 years of age, and I train every Thursday in a room full of national rated champions, world rated champions, every Thursday in our pro class, and I'm the smallest and the oldest and one of the lightest, and yeah, I get smashed too, but I do some smashing as well against very capable opponents. So that just relates the same to a female that has someone who's bigger and stronger than them. But if you're not persistent enough, if you're not like a blue belt, a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, if you haven't gone through the fire and really put in some time, you're never going to be able to overcome anyone like that. Ever. You got no chance unless you're armed, But if we're talking about unarmed, man to man, mano a mano, if you know what I mean, as a female against a male that's bigger and stronger, yes, you have plenty of potential to finish the fight. But against someone that's bigger and stronger than you that has great skills in jiu-jitsu, that's probably not going to happen. That's just a reality. And you know what that's like. You know what that feels like. There is a line for all of us. There's a line for all of us. Regardless, I'm a black belt, 8 years, and there's still a line for me. But what's the likelihood of me coming up against a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu that's 100 kilograms in a street fight? I'm probably going to know him. You know what I mean? I'll probably train with him. You know what I mean? So it's very possible with the right training, patience, persistence, and belief. You can do anything. You can get your skills. Man, I've got some girls. They are so dangerous. Oh, my God. So dangerous. And I've seen them tune up guys like multiple times. So it's very, very, you all have that potential for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
I told you got to keep me on the straight and narrow, Chef.
You answered the question in the most specific way. Patient, persistent commitment.
Yeah, get good at it.
That's the greatest advice that anyone can give.
You have to be an assassin. You want to beat a guy, right, bigger and stronger than you? You need some skills, girl. You need skills. Legitimate skills. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's no greater martial art in the world that can give you those skills than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it's all about fighting on the ground, off your back, with pressure and size disadvantage, height disadvantage, and weight disadvantage. We are masters at using the ground as a weapon. We can hold you against it. We can throw you against it. We can push up off it. We can use it to make space and create space, and we can create opportunities to thrive, to reverse, to counter, and escape. So tell me what's better than that. Tell me. Nothing.
I got nothing.
Unarmed.
Frank, you're an absolute gun. I absolutely love your passion, your energy, everything you stand for, my friend. I know I've taken a lot of your time, but if I can ask you another question, what has been the most memorable moment on the mat for you? A most memorable moment on the mat for you where you walked out and got something extremely profound from that experience? Maybe a light bulb moment, maybe a moment of just pure euphoric feelings. What was it? And can you recall that moment?
That's an easy one. The most magical moment of my career was receiving my black belt from Eddie Bravo, my mentor, one of my best friends, in my own country, in front of my family, my students, my friends, fellow colleagues, other black belts that came out, Brazilians. There were Brazilians, a couple of Brazilians came out and wanted to obviously train with Eddie, but they were there and they knew it was like everybody kind of knew something was going on except me. I was like, what are you talking about? I was being a brown belt for so long. I don't care. I'm happy to be the best brown belt ever. All right. I couldn't care about being a black belt. And, I've been around Eddie for a long time. And at that time, it took me 9 years. And to receive my black belt from Eddie Bravo, such a legend that has accomplished so much in his own career and for jiu-jitsu. And someone who's got his black belt from a guy like Jean-Jacques Machado, one of the greatest of all time, ADCC multiple champion. I mean, he's only got 2 fingers on his left hand. I mean, and he raised Eddie and Eddie raised me. And to get my black belt from Eddie was the most magical moment of my entire career, without a doubt.
Wow.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I dare say, I mean, if you were to describe that feeling, could you put it in words?
It's magical. If you think about what it takes to become a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, if you think that it's easy, you got rocks in your head. It's so difficult. It's such an obtuse undertaking, and it's not something that you walk in and you go, oh, I want to be a black belt. Nah, mate. You just want to. I just wanted to get my blue belt. I just wanted to add a ground element to my fighting game. That was it. And when I realized, wait, there's levels to this, and this is so efficient, and this is so effective, and so tactically so superior from anything else, regardless of the weight and the height disadvantage. I'm thinking, man, but what you have to go through to get to that level where you can apply it like that. I mean, I don't beat everybody. Are you kidding me? Just see some of the Herculean monsters I have to deal with every day. But look what it's made me. Look what it's turned me into. Look at the skills that it's given me. Look at it's incredible.
Yeah. I remember just having my first stripe on my purple belt, and I was in tears. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, really? Like, are you sure you've got the right person here?
So hard you doubt yourself. It's so hard you ask yourself the first thing, like, are you sure? You sure? You sure I'm a black belt? Like, but let me tell you, you get over that. You get over that. Believe me. The amount of kills you get when you're training against some of these people you never thought you could tap, and finally get to a position where you could finish. It's just so remarkable. The transition from getting smashed by someone 8 times a round to getting smashed only 4 times and 2 times and they're not getting tapped in a round, 8 minutes, and then finally putting pressure on them and maybe getting a tap. Do you know how many years that has to go by to make that happen against that kind of athlete, that kind of assassin? It puts you on a level of assassin as well. So
I actually came to a moment of this euphoric feeling that when that actually happened, I'm like, oh my God, for once I finally was able to manage that technique, that one technique where I was constantly being beat up against. And that day, I just felt like I was exploring massive wins. I walked out of there, and as I was reflecting, I just felt this massive emotion just shower all over me, like this wash of emotions just filtering through it. And I just was so much in this joy and love and bliss. And I was just so much gratitude for just what I was able to accomplish. And I was so proud of myself, for being able to finally pull that one technique off. And I
awesome.
hear you. It's, it takes many, many years of practice. And as you said, it's not an easy journey to master. And when you are at that mastery level, when you have that's just the beginning. The black belt is just the beginning. That's where it really starts.
Wow. You're absolutely right, man. I was talking to my students about this the other day, because I always say to them after about 2 years or a year of training, I'll say, hey, Jimmy, if Jimmy walked in from day one right now against you, what would you do to him? And they all say the same thing. I would smash him. I'm like, hey, Veronica, if Veronica from 2 years ago walked in right now and I said, hey, V, there she is, I want you to do 8 minutes with Veronica, what would you do to her? And the chicks go, smash her. Like, they all say the same shit. They all say, I would destroy that person. It's Jiu-Jitsu is so powerful that it's like it reinvents you. It's like a rebirth. So when you have those moments, they're like rebirthing moments.
I like how you put that.
Right?
Yes.
Because you just shed the skin. Yeah. You shed that skin that you've been living in for so long that you thought that you just could not burst out of. And then you finally break through this skin. It's just so freaking transformatively powerful. Oh my God, jiu-jitsu, everybody should be doing jiu-jitsu. And under a great teacher, under someone that understands all of these triumphs, the adversity and rising from all of that adversity. Like, you want to train with someone like that, they have so many life lessons for you. Oh man, you truly can reach your potential if you put yourself through such difficult circumstances, not in harm's way. Yeah. Not in harm's way. Like, not irresponsibly and recklessly. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about a martial art like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's nothing that's more giving. There's nothing that's more giving and rewarding than the abilities and the skills of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Oh my God. If I could wish that on humanity, I swear, if I could push a button. Okay, if you had to leave the house every day, if you're listening to this, if you could push that Jiu-Jitsu black belt button and give you these incredible skills of problem solving under dire physical consequences, if you could push that button when you walked out the door every day, Would you push it? The answer is yes. You would push that button every day. You'd push that button, and that will make you the most high-powered human being you can imagine. Can you imagine your potential then? Holy smokes. Anyway.
Oh, God.
Come on.
Let's go. Let's go on the mat. I'm pumped now. I think I'll go train tonight.
Nothing can compare it. Nothing can compare to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The reward of achievement in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu life is so profound and so powerful. I wish it for everyone.
Yeah. Frank, do you have any last words of wisdom to anyone else that you have any
it's all
last
about
words?
No. Yeah, look, it's all about being happy. Do the things that make you happy. Find the things you love. Never work a day in your life. You know, it's all comes from your heart. Come from the heart. I was held against me for the longest time. Oh, you're too emotional. You're too this. You're too that. I'm like, oh yeah, I did pretty fucking good for being an emotional guy. I mean, I've pretty much achieved all the things that I've really set myself out to achieve. I have, and sometimes you might fall short, but that's okay, because it's still freaking awesome for someone that hasn't left the couch. You know what I mean? So I mean, giving is getting. Do your best. Believe in yourself. Know your worth. You're valuable. You're significant, and you're very necessary in this world. And we need beautiful, happy people striving for just to be happy. And you know what? And if just taking a walk and appreciating nature, and meditating and raising your family, and just enjoying the presence of your family and your loved ones, and that fills your bucket, that fills your heart, and that you're coming from a place of giving, and that's success. I mean, don't look at me, mate. You're gonna think I'm crazy or something, but for me, that's what fulfills me. But doesn't mean that's what you have to do to fulfill you. So just find what makes you happy, find what you love, and never work a day in your life. Just live, be happy, love is everything. Love is everything. It's the highest frequency known to man. The highest vibration known to man is love. The frequency and vibration of love. And if you can find the things that you love, and that you surround yourself with the things that you love, then all you have is love. And that's the most powerful thing. And when you come from there, oh man, everything's beautiful.
You become unstoppable.
A force of nature.
I love it. I love it, Frank. Thank you so much for your time. Giving is getting the highest frequency, just tapping into love and resonating at a level that makes you become unstoppable, reaching heights towards beautiful versions of yourself. It's the journey from mat to mastery. I want to thank you for your time, your wisdom. Thank you for sharing your stories. I'm so, so grateful for this. I can't wait to perhaps do this again with you more, and next time, and we get to dive in deeper. I love it. Thank you so much.
I'm very, very, very glad that you've got so much out of that, and I hope all of the fans of this podcast get a lot out of it. And wherever you are, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Just remember that. And thanks for having me. I can't wait to do it all again.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay, I'm just going to end the recording.